Let me see those hands in the air. Touching out, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Oh, sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good.
Oh, I mean, what are you doing here? This video is courtesy of our great friend Norts, and of course, you know who our guest is tonight. The man who's done everything in cricket. It's Bumble. Bumble, welcome to the world's best cricket club, modestly titled, and you are a very honoured guest to be part of it tonight. Great to see you. How are you?
I'm average, Simon. Thanks for asking. I've been caught by COVID and it's hanging on. But I just looking at that clip there, that last bit of the umpire, Harry Baldwin, it used to be the thing in our dressing room that many of us in the 60s and 70s used to walk around the dressing room like Harry Baldwin, just doing that. So, it was a lovely clip, that. It was very impromptu. It was I think it was it's at Lloyd's, isn't it? It's in the indoor shed.
We'll have to play it again, shall we? I mean,
Yeah.
it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
You are a born comedian, aren't you? Wardy loved it, obviously. I tell you, I move like that now. Actually, well, that's brilliant. Actually, I'm interested in your comic background. I mean, you are a natural comedian, obviously. Do you have any influences in the comedy world?
Well, I did a lot of sort of after dinner speaking, so I would be with comedians. You know, it used to be when I finished playing and I was umpiring and you got paid threatens, and I was sort of doing after dinner speaking, and that all started as being captain of the club. And we used to win a bit and we'd get invited here, there and everywhere. The mayor would invite us to Manchester and Salford and Trafford. And I'd introduce the players. And so, you've had a glass of wine and you start introducing the players and have a little quip about him, a little quip about him. And a guy he just said, you want to put all that together? You would speak after dinner. And it all started then. But I did a lot of after dinner speaking and I would be with comedians, and I'm talking about top-notch comedians. Simon, you know what it's like in this PC world? I did that many gigs with Bernard Manning. I mean, there's bound to something rub off. There has to.
Ray Chubby Brown, did you?
No, he wasn't on the circuit, but George Roper. There used to be a program called The Comedians, and you might remember Jim Bowen, who did Bullseye. Well, Jim Bowen was the assistant headmaster in Accrington at Hyndburn Park Secondary Modern School, and he was an adopted child, was Jim. And Jim Bowen is not his name. Bowen was his wife's name. It was Jim Whittaker, but his proper name is Pete Roberts. But I don't even go there. So I would be working with all these comedians, Ivor Davis, lads who were, top notch on the TV. But I did that many with Bernard. I mean, you what Bernard? I mean, go to the Embassy Club at Bernard's Embassy Club. You'd never get away with it. Or Bernard would. Well, he would these days. He would. He wouldn't give a, what.
Yeah. A monkeys, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, in fact, we had Dustin Miller on our club a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the kind of passing the baton in the after dinner speaking world, and he sort of picked his speech up or his ideas up from you, and you probably were influenced by Fred Truman and Peter Parfitt, and there's a sort of legacy, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and I get asked, and this, I don't think I've done one this millennium, so that's 22 years. And I get asked, and I've got stage fright. I wouldn't go near one. Put me in a commentary box, give me a microphone, and I'm away. Wow. But I would be petrified if I had somebody to say, can you speak after dinner? No, I can't. No, I really, really can't. Because I'd be stressed out. I'd be stressed out for weeks on end before it. And so I don't do any. And age cacks up on you that I want to be in bed. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock. Why do I want to be sat there at 10:30, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, it's a long haul, isn't it? I mean, those dinners, you sort of you turn up at 6:37 and you don't get on until 10 if you're lucky, and then you've got to stay the night or whatever. I mean, there can be very long, quite lonely events. Actually, it's interesting you say about stage fright, because my dad was an actor and he had a comic touch. He wasn't a comedy actor, but he played in a lot of comic parts. He was in the Dick Emery Show and the Two Ronnies and all sorts. And actually, he got to the age of a bit older than you, sort of early 80s, but he had stage fright. He was offered a really nice part in a drama with Timothy Spall, and he said, "I can't do it. I can't. I'm bottling it." And he never acted again. And that was sort of early 80s, when he was in his early 80s. But I know what you mean. It's quite scary. I mean, when you got those live audiences, I remember once having Barry Norman doing my benefit year. And Barry Norman, in front of a live audience, was scared because he was used to TV and auto cue and just one guest or something in the studio for film 92 or whatever. Actually, in front of a big audience of 250 people, he was like, "Oh, wow!" He didn't like it. So it's not an easy thing to do, is it?
Well, I'll tell you what did for me: mobile telephones. So you stood up there and you might be on an elevated stage and you're sort of working the audience and you're getting your points across and your stories. And there's people with mobile phones, and it just fazed me. And I thought, I can't cope with it. I just can't handle all this stuff. And then you get one or two that start ringing up. "Oh, yeah, I'm having a great night here. This lad, the cricket bloke, you know who he is, don't you? I can't remember his name." And I'm listening to this. And it just fazed me. It put me off. So I wouldn't go near one. Simon Mann.
Simon Mann's here. Simon.
Hello, Bumble.
Commentating on the IPL.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw it. Liam Livingston at the end taking 28 off a chamois over to put us all out of our misery, because it was a bit of a slow game. And we had, those timeouts that are completely waste of time, just waste time. But Liam Livingston not reading the script, actually just got the game done in double quick time.
Very good, and that's a good segue, actually, because I spoke at his club dinner about 6 or 7 years ago. That was miles up the west coast of Cumbria. What's the place? Westerhaven, is it? Westhaven, I think.
Whitehaven.
Whitehaven, that's right. Sorry, Whitehaven.
It obviously left a big impression on you, Oz.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was an extraordinary dinner, actually. That was, I mean, some dinners, Bumble, you and Simon, you do, it's black tie and it's quite smart and all that. This was pie and chips on a paper plate, served by a couple of, very ample ladies who went, "Go on, bloody eat it," I mean, very kind of straightforward, but great in a way. And everyone turning up in T-shirts. I'm sure there was a guy in shorts at this particular dinner. I mean, it's such a contrast, isn't it? And it's a 3-day camel ride to get there from here as well.
I mean, you just keep going and you carry on. You're in America. If you just keep going, you'll get to America. I mean, he's a top lad, and just on a serious note, he is a complete cricketer. He can play Test match cricket, no problem.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem is that he is obviously earning a lot of money in the IPL, and that's absolutely fine. But when he comes back, there's no county cricket for him to play and stake a place in the England team. He's a complete cricketer. And Rob Key, if I know Rob Key at all, he wants tough characters. He wants tough people. He doesn't want flaky characters. Ben Stokes is from up that way, up Workington, Whitehaven.
Yeah.
They're as tough as old boots from up there. There's a lad at Surrey, Jordan Clark. He moved from Lancashire. He's from up there. They don't take any prisoners, and they're tough cricketers. Yeah, and so we're going back to somebody like David Steele, Brian Close. Not the best ever cricketers, but tough characters and can take a hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we need, isn't it? Actually, I think Liam is from. I think he actually played for Barrow-in-Furness. In fact, I think I got that wrong. It wasn't Whitehaven, but I was at Whitehaven another time. But We had Liam actually on our show a few weeks ago when he was in India. No, he was in Dubai at the time playing in the IPL, the earlier round of the IPL, and he was saying, I mean, sort of, he said the trouble is I don't play any red ball cricket really, and my technique at the moment doesn't really work for red ball cricket. But I felt actually from watching him bowl as much as bat that he's got so much to offer.
Yeah, I agree that he's a gun fielder.
Yeah.
He's a useful bowler. He's useful. You can use him if you're in a jam, you'll get a few overs out of him. But I like the character. I know he's as tough as he don't take anything from anybody, and he fits the bill, I think. But we will obviously talk about this aspect of domestic cricket in that the IPL is absolutely fine. It's a wonderful tournament, but we haven't accommodated it. We should have. We've got 5 rounds of county cricket during the IPL. And then when the IPL finishes, with no county cricket, for lads like Livingston to go into bang, 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 100, 100, 100 is in the test team. We don't have it.
That's right, isn't it? Well, let's talk about that. Just before we get into that, tell us where you are, because you did some commentary, didn't you, during one of the lockdowns from your front room or something? And, you kept talking about putting the bins out and things like that. It was hilarious. I did the same. I was in this room talking on Channel 4, actually. So you're not, I don't think you're in the same property now as you were broadcasting from before, are you?
No, we've gone to the dark side. We've moved. We're now in the deepest, darkest North Yorkshire. We're way up. And I absolutely love it. I mean, my wife's from this area. And like many people, we sort of got a house on the go and it won't be ready for another month, and it's been 10 months on the go. So we're living in a little cottage just by Thirst. Race courses everywhere around us, racehorse trainers everywhere. I can get to the coast, Scarbados. I can get to Scarbados in an hour. And Bridlington, the best thing about Bridlington is it's a lovely spot, but there's a pub right by the pier. It's £1.50 a pint. I mean, that's ridiculous. You go down to your joint down London, and you're paying £6 and £7 a pint.
You can get a thimble full for £1.50 here.
And it's that flat. They could serve it in envelopes. Shove it in an envelope and serve it. Don't put it in a glass.
I love Robin Hood Bay, actually, which is sort of in between, or it's near there, isn't it? Up a bit nearer to Whitby. And it's lovely up there. Beautiful. I was there last summer when I was on my North York Moors tour. God, amazing, beautiful spot. You're lucky, actually. It's God's country, isn't it? That sort of area.
Gorgeous. I had Mrs. Bairstow round that weekend. Janet came round and brought her dog Henry, and I thought Henry, it's not a great Dane. What is he? A Rhodesian Ridgeback. That's it. And I thought it had eaten our 2 terriers. I thought, where's it gone? It must have eaten them. Yeah, lovely dog, Henry.
Oh, Simon, you got some burning questions for Bumble, I know.
It was interesting. When I joined, you were talking about stand-up comedy, which I could talk about that all night. But we probably should talk a bit about cricket, shouldn't we? We touched on it a little bit so far. Bumble, you mentioned Rob Key. If I'd have said to you last summer, when you were perhaps working with him, that next summer he'd be the managing director of English cricket, what would you have said? What would you have thought?
I would have been interested in the question, definitely, because I know that he would fit the bill, and I think he is a good fit. I think he's a good fit, Rob Key, because for many reasons. He won't get phased. He won't worry what people say. I think that's very important in that job. His only worry would be his golf swing and his putting stroke, because his day job, you should be competent enough to do it, and he will be. And so I would have been intrigued by the question and thought about it and gone, yeah, he'll do a very good job at that, and I'm sure he will. And the challenge is, as all of us know on this podcast, that he's got to get the right people in place. Now, he's got his captain, which was a no-brainer. That was nailed on. He's got his captain. Now, he's got to make sure that his captain has got good people around him, particularly this captain, particularly Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes has got to be so confident in the coach and the coaching staff. So the next appointment is very interesting, and he's going to go back to a national selector, and that appointment will be very interesting. So he's got to make a move within the next 2 weeks, I would think.
Do you have any ideas about, if you said to him, well, who would be, I mean, you've done the job. I mean, you've done pretty much every job in cricket, actually, come to think of it, including fire people out LBW when you're an umpire. Have you got any ideas who you think would fit the bill?
I have. I would think that the outstanding candidate, and this is just a personal view, is Otis Gibson. And I think he's a really good man. He's very well experienced. He's well respected. And I think he would be a perfect fit for Rob, for Rob Key and 2 for Ben Stokes. He's been around. He's done the West Indies. He's done South Africa. And so you're getting experience all along. And there seems to be a merry-go-round, doesn't there? Like Mickey Arthur will go from one country to another, and now he's in a county. So you're gathering experience all the time. The bottom line is you've got to win cricket matches. It don't matter what you play. 2 steps forward, 1 step back isn't good enough. You've got to be consistently winning matches. Ponting is a non-starter, which is a shame. He would have been really good, I think. Another top man, a brilliant man, really, really good man. And so, it's who else is around? Who are the other outstanding candidates?
So, I mean, Rob's talking about splitting the job, isn't he? And I mean, I think what did he say? It's not set in stone, but there's a very good chance, basically, that will happen. What would you have felt like when you were England coach if you had you were just doing the test team and someone else was doing the? I actually can't remember if it was white ball then, Bumble or not when you were in charge. Would it have been white ball?
Just 97, yeah.
Yeah.
White ball, yeah.
Well, one-day cricket then.
It was white ball. It's a different era because they weren't centrally contracted, and they'd turn up and play for England and then clear off back to the counties. But I would think it would be a damn good idea to have split coaches, and I'm certain he's going to go that way, which means that and don't take this the wrong way, that the celebrity IPL coaches might be interested in just doing the white ball side of things. The IPL coaches, these stellar guys who are around, would not be interested in taking the England job because, they've got a nice number. It's absolutely fine. And the job that I will put my hand up for, and I will do it every time in the IPL, is mentor. I want to be a mentor to a team.
What, you mean like a Sachin or someone then?
Our great mate, devastated that Shane isn't with us. And he was involved in IPL and all that. I said, Shane, if you do nothing else, put me in as a mentor. It's the best job in the world, mentor to a cricket team. I want you to go out there and hit it into the next village. I want you to go out there and don't get hit for any runs. It's simple. Mentor.
Actually, it's funny, but Joss Butler, he was a bit scared of when he played for Mumbai Indians a while ago. Their mentor was Sachin, and they had a couple of other sort of big names. I think they had Ponting around at the time as well, and a couple of other people. And he said it was daunting coming back into the dressing room with these mentors. So they actually kind of almost made it intimidating rather than encouraging. So it all depends, I suppose, who that personality is and in a way whether you can respond to that. I mean, Joss is someone who likes being in sort of her family and being included. He's not the most sort of outspoken, confident guy, actually. I mean, probably a bit more now, but he actually found that sort of environment a bit intimidating. You would have been perfect for him, though. You would have been brilliant for Joss.
Well, I just think it's a hoot. It's a hoot. It's a game of cricket, nothing else. And it's a dead simple game. Cricket's always been a simple game. Somebody bowls it, you hit it, he tries to stop you hitting it for very far. and people have to catch it. It's such a simple game. I've got to mention that we were in Pakistan yonks ago, and I tell you how yonks ago, Andrew Flintoff is playing, and we were in the hotel in Multan, and it was a franchise holiday inn. And Andrew came in after the day's play, and Jeffrey, our friend Jeffrey, he sat there in the foyer of an unfinished franchise holiday inn, and he said, as Andrew walked past, he said, "You're not but a slogger, you're just a slogger." I carried on walking, Andrew, and he said, "And how many hundreds have you ever got in 80 balls?"
Yeah. He also walked past Gary Balance once, Boyks, at Yorkshire, before a test match. And he said to him, I sort of overheard it partly, he said, "There was a bloke that played for Yorkshire with me, and he moved his feet more than you, and he had a wooden leg." That was exactly what Gary Balance needed to hear, wasn't it? Just before a test match. Yeah, absolutely furious, poor chap. Anyway, just tell me, I mean, just quickly, Lancashire, obviously you're close to your heart, and you're now working on the commentary of the stream of Lancashire. Tell us a little bit about that, and what do you think of the county cricket that you've seen at close hand?
Well, I'm a massive champion of county cricket, and I would suspect you are too. And Simon, I'm sure, is, because it gives you the opportunity as a player. It develops you as a player. It's everything that you need as a player to get better. And so I'm an 18 counties, and I would not change that whatsoever. I'd change the format. But working on Lancs, I saw the Gloucester game. So let's look at Lancs' attack. You need to take 20 wickets. They had a full international attack. Hassan Ali, Jimmy Anderson, Saki Mahmood, and Parkinson. They got a full attack and got supplementary bowlers as well. They got 2 or 3 supplementary bowlers. It was terrific. We got Marcus Harris opening the batting, and he had a private battle with Jimmy Anderson. And I thought, this is full-on cricket. And the other thing that I'm always interested in, are they fit? Are they fit? Are they strong? I want to see this bowler bowl his first 6 overs, and I want to see his pace at the back end of the day at 5:30, 6 o'clock. How's his pace? Everybody was bang on. The fielding was excellent. I thought it was a great showpiece. I'm on again on Thursday, so I'm looking forward to it. But I would never decry county cricket. I would shout and criticise from the rooftops the format of county cricket now. I think it's doing a real disservice to our cricketers.
In what way, Bumble? In what way? What would you do? How would you change the format?
I would have 3 divisions of 6 teams, but the crucial part, I would play it in summer. I think we've won the pools in this last 4 or 5 weeks, when we've had hardly any rain. We've had a whole stack of runs. We've got double hundreds, innings, defeats, and so on. But I can recall when I started playing, we didn't play until May because it was that wet, and we didn't have covers and so on. But the format that I talk about is, I'm not too worried about the 3 divisions. I like 3 divisions as a conference with 1 up, 1 down, and you play 10 matches, but you play them in summer, in the summer months, starting, say, first week of May. And it gives everybody a chance, because that's how you develop a player. That's how a player, when you're a young kid at 15-year-old, you want to play for England if you're English. And the way to do that is through your county, and to do well for your county. And then if you get hundreds, you'll play for your country if you're good enough.
Actually, John Embry was on our club as well recently, and we were remembering that in August, when you played championship cricket, quite often you play on a used pitch, which was used in May, and it would turn from first afternoon. And so I would bowl 5 overs with the new ball, and then that's it. I didn't bowl again, and it was just the spinners. And you never see that now, do you?
No, I mean, it's a changing face of cricket, really, in that we go back to uncovered pitches, and then you'd go to different parts of the country that would have different loams, Mendip loam, Surrey loam, Ongar loam. And so you get different characteristics in the pitches. Some would be high bounce, some would be very low bounce, some would spin. You got a bowler who was a superb bowler for England for a short period of time.
All Batsman.
No, the left armour from Glamorgan, Jones.
Jeff Jones.
Yeah, and he wouldn't play for Glamorgan because the wickets were that slow and low, but England would take him on tour because he had firepower pace. Somebody like Robin Hobbs wouldn't play that many times for England in the UK, but they'd take him on tour. And so you've got different characteristics at different pitches. But to get back to the point, that county cricket, to me, is the be-all and end-all. You can put all the rest of it together. The T20 Blast is a hoot. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. Yeah, I've seen this 100 this last year, and it was great fun. But it's in the way. It's in the way. It's great fun. I can see that. I can see the fun element and people having a great time. But it's in the way. You can't have the 100 and T20, in my opinion.
I suppose the problem is, I suppose the one problem is, and I'm sorry for sort of touting a kind of tired argument in a way, but it's to try and get the new generation, the younger generation interested. And, you know, when you were playing for Lancashire in the 70s, you know, they were an absolute star attraction. They're brilliant players, Clive Lloyd and, you know, all those kind of characters, Farouk Engineer and you and all that. You know, great characters. And, you know, it was a draw, wasn't it, for the community to come and watch Lancashire. The trouble is now people aren't drawn in the same way, you know, and so you've got to find a way of getting the next generation interested in the game. And that's what the 100 was trying to do, rebrand the game for the next generation.
Yeah, I understand that. And I thought that T20 was doing that. And, you know, we're getting great T20 sellouts all over the country. So, you know, I get the 100. I think it's the concept of a short, sharp terrestrial television, being interested in getting it into a schedule. I understand all that. But there should have been a wherewithal to do all that. Because let's face it, the board, the ECB, have spent an enormous amount of millions of pounds marketing the 100, so it had to do well. It would do well. There's no question that it wouldn't do well, but you've got to beware that it's actually in the way.
Yours, is it time for
you got
questions?
Yeah, fine. You got anything else you want to ask Bumble before we go?
I got a million questions, but I think that'd be a bit selfish. I think it's time for our members to have a go. Don't you think? Yeah. I think Noughts is going to be our ringmaster tonight for this. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. And so I'm going to. I don't know how long, how many questions you've got. We'll try and get as many through. Niraj, I'm going to bring on first, okay? And then
so this is a global club, Bumble, and Niraj is in Mumbai actually, so he's staying up late tonight.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Bumble. Hi, Simon.
Hi there.
Hello.
It's a pleasure actually talking to you, Bumble. It's absolutely pleasure. And my question is that you have been a player, a coach, a commentator, an anchor, a comedian, after dinner speaker. Which has been the most challenging, or which has been is there a situation, an awkward situation, any of these profiles you've done, which has put in an awkward spot for you?
Yes, on a daily basis, playing. When I played the game, that was a heck of a challenge, and you really have to work hard to try to stay ahead of the game, and sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. But it's certainly the most rewarding. From a commentary perspective, and I like that adrenaline rush when you come on air and you've got to bring the program to life. Really, you've got to bring it to life pretty early. Umpiring was a hoot. I loved umpire. I didn't take that very seriously. Umpiring, you give him out, you'll see a pair of pads. He's out. He's not out.
You fired me out once.
Yeah, good.
Charles.
Yeah, I probably get the game moving. I think I always used to listen to a bloke called Ray Julian, who was a friend of the bowlers, and Ray gave me the best advice. He said, "Just keep the game moving. Just keep it moving." So again, to get back to the question that Simon and I were chatting earlier, that after dinner speaking fills me with dread, utter dread. I wouldn't go near one now.
Which do you prefer, radio or TV commentary? Because you did quite a bit of TMS, didn't you, before Sky?
I think radio, really. I like, on TV, you're hitting that many breaks. You're hitting, you've got to hit things. You're hitting things all the time. Whereas on radio, you're just chatting away. You're chatting away to a colleague, and you're bringing the in. The radio's nice.
Actually, you're amazing, because you were able to work. You brought radio commentary to TV, which is hard to do. But you actually did it. I think you've probably done it better than anybody else, where you've been able to tell a story and be in vision sometimes as well, and bring that sort of radio element to TV commentary, which is hard, actually.
And the biggest challenge is shut up. Just shut up. Don't say anything.
I'm going to bring Sam in next, Simon, David and Simon. But just before I do that, could I ask you, Bumble, I've had a request. One of our members, it's his birthday today, Alex Gaywood. Could you wish him a happy birthday on screen to brighten his day?
We got a birthday message, haven't we, Alex? It's Alex's birthday. He's not said how old he is, but I hope he's having a great day.
I did think he might bring himself on, but maybe later. But right, thank you very much. I'll bring on Sam next.
Evening all.
Hi, Sam.
Hello. Evening, Bumble. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, Sam.
Don't come at me too hard, being Australian. But I was in Yorkshire on the weekend, gorgeous part of the world, so I can see why you like it so much. You sort of answered half of my question just then. I was going to ask, what's the best advice you've ever received? And then consequently, what's the best advice you've ever given? And in sort of any sphere, I'll leave that with you. But they're my two-part question.
Well, it's the same answer to both. And I think I can make it quite relevant that my dad, I'm an only child, and my dad was very much in the background. My mum was a real firecracker. She was one of 13 brothers and sisters, so you can imagine that she had to do a lot of scrapping and fighting with 13 brothers and sisters. But my dad was a lay preacher. He was a very religious guy, and quite poignantly, when Sunday League cricket came in, when we would play, when I first started playing, you'd play Saturday, rest day, and continue Monday, Tuesday. And then Sunday League came in. I had to ask my dad permission to play on a Sunday, because Sunday's the Lord's Day. And he had no hesitation in saying, go for it. And so the best advice that my dad, who said very, very little, didn't say very much at all. And as I was developing in various careers, he just said, be yourself. And so Alex Tudor, who's a lovely, lovely lad, he's got the loudest voice, and he's a big, tall guy, and he bowled quickly for England for a while. He got 99 not out when Graham Thorpe messed it up. And he played for Surrey, and he was coming into broadcasting, and he rang me and he said, have you any advice? And I said, look, I know your dad. Your dad used to be on the gate at Surrey. I said, my dad just said to me, be yourself. Don't try and be somebody else. And that was really stood me in good stead. It's got me in bother, which I don't mind. I don't mind getting in a bit of bother, because it's who I am. I wouldn't be true to myself if I didn't get in a bit of bother every now and again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Come on.
Where are we going next then? Noughts is it's Omar next, is it? Yeah, Omar. Omar needs to unmute. There we go.
Hi, Simons. How you doing? Both all right?
Great, great, Omar.
Hi, Bumble. How you doing?
I'm very average, Omar, but thanks for asking.
Great that you're on here today. Cheers. I've got a couple of quick questions. One is, can you give me some memories of Wasim Akram? Just some stories and what he's like in the dressing room, that kind of thing. And secondly, just on Sky, the Sky team have lost some big names now, including yourself and Rob Key recently, as well as David Gower and Ian Botham over the past few years. We know that Nasser and Athers are the gold standard, but who do you see Sky picking up next to kind of take things forward? Who are the next guys, the next cabs off the rank, basically, to take Sky forward? The summer's not going to be the same without you.
Well, I think Mark Butcher is outstanding, and I'm sure that he will have an involvement. I've got a real soft spot. I think he's got a great cricket brain. Go on, what were the rest of it? What were the rest of the question?
Wasim Akram. Memories of
Wasim Akram.
Oh,
Wasim Akram.
How could I forget that? Akram, well, he's one of my mates for a kickoff. Let's get that out. He's one of my pals. And his nickname in the Lancashire dressing room, and there's been a lot of conjecture about nicknames in the dressing room fairly recently. He was known as King. And if I get asked a million times, what's your all-time great team? Greatest test team? And I'd always say that I only go from 1965, from when I started. You know, I'm not going back to Len Upton and Wally Hammond and Don Bradman. I go from when I started. And my starting point is Wasim Akram. I start at Akram at number 8. He has a wicked sense of humour. I mean, wicked sense of humour. He's great fun. He's got a wonderful personality. He was a pleasure to be around. I was in the Lancashire dressing room with him. And I chuckled that you're the head coach. How do you coach Wasim Akram? How do you coach him? He would ring me up sometimes when we got a day off. And he'd say, I will come and bowl in the nets for 1 hour. And he'd turn up in a pair of jeans. And he'd bowl at this young chap who I think he was like his housekeeper. And I'd say to him, and he was no good. He couldn't bat, this lad. I said, just be careful with him. He said, no, he's only there to throw the ball back. And when we were having nets, when we'd have formal nets at Old Trafford, it's one of them things, and Simon Hughes will understand this, that the players all moan about the standard of cricket balls. They all do. They go into the bag of balls. These are rubbish. They're terrible. They're shocking. Wasim Akram used to go through the bag of balls and pick the worst ball he could find and then swing it round corners. Nobody could play him. He'd pick the worst ball in the bag and work on reverse swing. He was an absolute gem. He's the greatest left arm seamer that I've ever seen.
Brilliant, Bumble. Cheers.
Great answer. And actually, you know, Imran was exactly the same, Bumble. Imran used to come, he lived in, obviously he played for Sussex, but he lived in London. He lived in Sloane Square somewhere. And he used to come to Lord's on his own to join the Middlesex practice instead of going all the way down to Hove. So similar sort of idea, really. He didn't bring his housekeeper with him, but he used to go into the bag of balls and get the crappiest, worst ball out and make it swing round corners as well. And we once asked him how he did it, actually, and he showed us, he actually sort of lifted a bit of the quarter seam up in the nets. I'm not suggesting he necessarily did that in a match. And I mean, it was amazing to watch. Absolutely extraordinary. I was in Akram. What a man. What a man. Great answer. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, really good. Brilliant. Nick, next.
Thank you, Simon. And hello, Bumble.
Hi.
I'm interested actually in your selection days, actually, when you're running the England team. So again, if it's okay, a two-part question. First part is kind of what would be your criteria for selecting a player? What are you looking for in a player? And just a bit of background, I work part-time as a football scout. So we look at technical skills, mental skills, physical skills. So kind of what are you looking for in a player? And then the second part is which players that haven't played for England yet do you think have those skills that should be in the squads going forward?
Yeah, well, I'd always look at character, strong character. And just to get back to that time, I wasn't a selector. I was for a little while, and then I thought this is not right. When Raymond Illingworth was the chairman of selectors, and he was really, really good. And we had other people who were on that selection panel, and I didn't think right as coach should be on there, so I removed myself. But what do I look for in a player? I'm always character. I like fitness. I think the fitness and athleticism has got to be there. Defensive technique. We're talking about a batsman now, we're talking about batsman. If I want a wicket keeper, I'll go and ask Alan Knott or Jack Russell or Alex Stewart. Tell me if he's any good. But from a pure batting perspective, he's got to have a defence. Now, three of the best players that I've ever seen, all West Indians: Gary Sobers, Vivian Richards, Brian Lara. Explosive players, exuberant players, but they could defend. They could defend a good ball. And that class of player can change a game. They can switch. They can just switch and kick on. And so as he got the ability to change gear. So your criteria for picking a test match batsman are varied. I want to know his character. I want to know his strength of character. I want to know his lifestyle. I'd like to know his lifestyle. Mm-hmm. What happens to this guy? Can he defend? Can he kick on? And so there are probably about 10 questions that they need ticks. Tick, 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 tick. Now I'm going to be quite controversial just for a second.
Yeah, it's good.
I've watched Asib Hamid since he was a young England cricketer, under 17s, under 19s. He's still having a net. He can't defend and he can't change gear. Now he's got to come out of that. He's got to be in the game situation. Does he understand the game situation? Because he can play. He can definitely play, but there's a difference between game head and practice head. And I've never seen one yet that in a proper match plays a shot and then keeps playing it 20 times, shadow shots. I've never seen one who's any good. Sachin Tendulkar, play, walk away. Play, walk away. Think about your next meal. Think about where you're going. And then walk back in and switch on. And it's a knack. It's a switch on, switch off.
Perfect. So which player has that England haven't picked yet?
Well, we chatted earlier, and he's through no fault of his own. Liam Livingstone, has got that. I'm looking at younger players, and I don't know enough about them, but I can tell you a couple who I like the look of. Harry Brook at Yorkshire. And I did a thing last week, and I said, and I'm going to stand by it because I know a bit about this kid. I know a little bit about him. He's a pocket battleship. He don't take any mess from anybody. He's just got a double 100. England are looking for a 3. Josh Bohannon. And that, so now I'm saying character. I know his character. I know that bloke's character. And so he'd get a massive tick on that. And he's got concentration. That's another thing, concentration. Can he concentrate? I mean, the concentration. As a batsman, you've only got one go. You make a mistake, you've gone. One of the great lines from Bob Woolmer. Bob Woolmer, one of the outstanding coaches. He asked a player, and a very, very top top South African player. When do you think you're in? Oh, when I get to 25 or 30. And he jumped straight in. He said, you're never in because you only get one chance. You're never in. You only get one chance.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It's absolutely fascinating.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Did you have natural concentration or did you have to work at it as a batter?
I had a natural concentration because do you remember that group? I think they were called the Animals. Eric Burden was.
Oh, yeah. House of the Rising Sun.
House of the Rising Sun, but didn't they sing one, I've got to get out of this place?
Yes. Yeah, I think they did.
Well, I lived at 134 Water Street with an outside toilet shared by 7 families. I got to get out of this place. And the passport was cricket, and the passport eventually was batting. It started as a bowler. I've got to get out of this place.
Right, we've got time for 2 more quick questions. Paul's going to ask one of them. I see Jacob sledging him, asking Paul to ask a short question is like asking Shahid Afridi to defend 6 balls and an over. But there's your challenge, Paul, to ask a quick question.
Thank you. Thank you. Bumble, great to have you with us. I could listen to you all night, but probably not tonight because I'm half divided attention on Forest against Bournemouth. So it definitely will be a quick question.
What's the score? What's the score?
0-0 at half time. 0-0 at half time. So, yeah, we're on the bet with the game then. Anyway, question is, I've read your book, one of my favourite books, Around the World in 80 Pints, and you were talking about the price of a pint earlier on. Now that you're no longer with Sky, will you still go to the Lord's Test this year? And if so, will you be in the Princess of Wales in Primrose Hill for a beer afterwards?
I probably won't be in the Princess for a start, and I'd kick off in the Queen's Head.
Yeah. Queens, yeah.
I'd go across the road to a little Italian called Jay's.
Yeah, I know that well.
Yeah, tiny one. Or go down to the Engineer and the Navigation.
Yeah.
But with these 2 lads on now, the 2 Simons, I went in the Princess of Wales with Mike Selvey, and Christopher Martin Jenkins, and Christopher leaned back on his chair and went straight through the window and finished up on the.
Do you know, Bumble? Just very quickly on that. The only time he's ever given me a lift, or he ever gave me a lift in his car, CMJ. He said he was at Lord's. He said, "I'll drive you home. Where you going? Down Putney Bridge." He said, "I'm going that way." He got in the car. I got in next to him, and he reversed into the wall behind him.
He did.
Yeah. The only time I've ever driven with him. Anyway, so there we go. Well done, Paul. Good luck to Forest. Big game. Well, it is a big game.
That was a short question.
It was a short question.
I measured it. It was 18 seconds.
Right, Andy. Andy Royland says your challenge as well for a short question.
Evening, Bubble.
Hi, Andy.
No, I was always impressed with your choice of pubs. You always mention things like the Lincolnshire Poacher in Nottingham, which is so you've obviously got good taste there. Question's not about pubs, though, sadly. You had some interesting run-ins with the media when you were coach of England. Was that a part of the role that you really struggled with? And do you have sympathy for modern captains and coaches in terms of the restrictions and what you can get away with saying to the media these days?
Do you know, when I did it, I thought I was damn good at it. I thought I'd give them a story. I thought I'd give them a line.
We flipping murdered them.
Yeah, I thought we got cricket on the back pages and the front pages. So, you know, I quite enjoyed that side of it. I enjoyed that joust. I enjoyed getting in a bit of bother. I like a bit of a medal and a bit of a muddle. So it never bothered me too much. And the other thing, the serious side of that is that I saw my job as to protect the players. You throw it all on me, I'll protect these other guys. It's a different era now. You've just got to be very careful. You've got to be, you know, this is a great podcast, and we can almost say what we want. You're far too young, Andy, to remember there's a singer yonks ago called PJ Proby, and he was like a poor man's Elvis. And this is an aside, you won't understand this, but he finished up living in Burnley, where Jimmy Anderson comes from. He's American. He had a record which is way before his time. It's called I Apologise. And if he brings that out now, he'd make a fortune. because everybody is on social media. I'd like to apologise for something I said like 400 years ago, and I hope I've not offended anybody. And if I have, I profoundly apologise. PJ Proby should bring that out again. I apologise. He split his pants on stage, which is it was claim to fame.
You've gone on mute. You're on mute.
Can't hear you, Andy. You're on mute, Andy.
Oh, I've took Andy out of the game.
Sorry.
I'm moving
All
things
right.
on. Sorry, Andy. All right,
Sorry.
everybody.
Back on.
Got a clock. We're gonna clock. We're gonna.
No, we can't hear you, Norts. What have you done to yourself?
Can you hear me again?
Yeah, go on, Andy.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I found most of the interviews that Joe Root did, tediously boring with Aggers and what have you, because I've just got the impression he was, completely restricted on what he could say, that he was in danger of making headlines he didn't want to make.
Yeah, I understand. I think that Joe Root was sort of left on his own. They've got to do these, and there's no fun, I can tell you, when you keep losing and you keep having to believe in your players. And we've got young players who are learning and so on. There's no fun in that. You need to win some cricket matches. And so, I saw Joe Root sort of aging by the day. I think that Stokes will have more support in that regard. And again, just you can't have the media as your enemy. They're promoting the game. These are the vital electronic media or written media are promoting the game. So you've got to embrace that side of things, because sometimes you're good and sometimes you're not so good. And you've just got to say it as it is. And I think you get more respect if you do that. Of course, you'll get some of them who have a different angle. The angle is they're going to hit you. They're going to hit you. Well, okay, it's only cricket. It's only a game of cricket. You might just meet him on a frosty night somewhere and see if he wants to hit you then. But there's me Accrington coming out again.
Thanks, man.
It's a shame, isn't it, that in a way you say I apologise, and we've all made mistakes and apologised, but somehow apologies don't work anymore, do they? Because it's sort of out there, and whatever you've said is sort of poured over and analysed and regurgitated and taken out of context. And it's a shame that you can't just apologise. But people are not very forgiving anymore, are they?
No, just forgive and forget. The back end of it's a game of cricket, for goodness sake. That's all it is. It's a game of cricket, and you make mistakes. Life is all about making mistakes, and you move on. Older and wiser, or older and no wiser.
Well, you're definitely wise. You're definitely wise. Let's do the quiz, shall we, Simon?
Yep, let's go for it. Yep.
Right. So, Bumble, you've got another 10 minutes. So this is the quiz that we put every guest through. It's called "How Well Do I Know Myself?" Right. It's 10 questions.
I'm answering them.
You're answering them. Yeah. You're answering them. We've had probably about 50 contestants. Only one has got 10 out of 10. That was Paul Collingwood.
Yes.
And he sort of semi-cheated by having one of the answers on his bedroom wall and going upstairs to check.
All right.
Scorecard. The worst is Alistair Cook with 4 out of 10. And the only questions he could answer were about sheep. There won't be any questions about animals, you'll be glad to know, in your case. So it's Sid Lawrence was on last week and got, I think, 6.
6 out of 10. Yeah.
Well, Sid.
So you got to beat 6 basically for the moment. And we start with some music, which is this. Simon, I sent you the questions. Did you get them?
Yeah, I've got the questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to start then?
Yeah, and what you got to do the buzzers, Yoz. If you get it right,
so if you get it right, you get a.
He's got it.
Familiar sound of Ian Smith there, and if you get the wrong answer, it's this. So you know the form. All right.
Okay. So these are all Bumble. These are all questions about your career or relating to your career, or to do with you, to do with cricket, and to do with you really. So question number Question number 1. How many did you make on your first class debut and who got you out?
None. Fred Titmus.
He's got it!
Nice gentle half volley to get you going. 1 out of 1.
And what happened in the second innings?
None.
That's a bonus. You don't get a point for that. What an extraordinary start to your cricket career.
I got cramp as well. I batted for about an hour and a half. I couldn't get off the ball.
Extraordinary. Anyway, well, you've got 1 out of 1 here. You're off the mark here. 1 out of 1. Okay. Question 2. In what year did you make your first class 100?
1966.
You sure?
67.
Sure?
65. Oh, no.
68.
All right. Against Gloucestershire.
Well, that was the first year you made 100, 1968.
Right. Oh, no, it might have been Cambridge University.
No, it wasn't. Well, it might have been, whatever. It was 1968 anyway.
Okay.
So I'm afraid you got that one wrong. 1 out of 2.
Right.
Okay. Question number 3. I think this is quite a tricky. It might be quite a tricky question.
Well, you can give him a range if you like.
Okay, yeah, we'll give you 2 either side. How many first class hundreds did you make?
37.
He's got it!
It was actually 38. So you just slightly undersold yourself, but I said we'll give you 2 either way. So that is 2 out of 3.
Question 4. How many did you make on your test debut?
First innings.
Yeah.
46.
He's got it!
Very good.
3 out of 4.
Just out on a 50. What happened? You weren't going for a 4 for 50 and edged it to the keeper, were you?
No, I got to 42, I think, before it's at Lloyd's at lunchtime. Myself and Amy opened, and you know what it's like. I congratulated myself. I thought I've done brilliantly here. In fact, I'll have a pint of lager, and so I did. And
no way.
You will know that all on there was beer all on the table, also. And I'll tell you what beers they were. They were Double Diamond, Bass White Shield, I think it was, Mackison, Watney's Red Barrel, and you could have I thought I'll have a lager. Yeah, and I think Prasanna got me out, caught Eknath Solkar, short leg.
Just after lunch?
Yes, just after lunch.
Well, that's extraordinary. I've heard of bowlers having pints, but not batters having pints. But anyway, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's and okay. Well, now to relating to that match, you made 46. What was yours has written this question? What was significant about that number later in the match?
That India were all out for 46 in their second innings.
He's got it!
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, actually, I think the answer is probably that you got more than India because they were actually bowled out for 42. But yeah, so you managed more than the whole of the Indian team.
Yeah.
Good answer. Well done.
5 out of 6. Yours?
Question 6. Who has a better test batting average, you or Michael Vaughan?
I averaged 42. Vaughan, what a wonderful cover driver! What a fantastic player! He was a gorgeous player, Michael Vaughan. One of the a great captain. He averaged 41. Me 42.
You didn't make. That's a very good answer. You didn't make the mistake that most people make when they come on the Virtual Cricket Club, which is that they always undersell themselves on questions like this. Yeah. But anyway, well, let's see how I get on with this one though.
Can I just intervene just for clarity for the audience watching? Can we just cover what the actual score is and what question?
That is.
It's 5 out of 6. Sorry, 5 out of 6. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So that's 5 out of 6.
Right.
Question number 7 then. Who has a better first-class bowling average? You or Jack Leach?
I'd be averaging 30. I think Jack Leach, first class boy, Taunton, spinning. Jack Leach
is the right answer.
He's got it!
Yeah, Jack Leach 27.18 and Bumble 30.26. Yeah, that was a bit of a googly actually, because you could have, after the comment I made just now about people underselling themselves, you could have gone the wrong way there. But there we go. That's what's that? 6 out of 7.
Yeah. Right. Question 8. Which county did you never umpire in a first class match?
Oh, Lancashire.
Correct. How did you know?
Because when I did it, you weren't allowed to umpire your county if you were an umpire or an experienced umpire.
Well, I can't remember that, because I remember people like Pasty Harris umpiring Middlesex.
Yeah, no, I was a reserve umpire for a while.
Oh.
David Evans, the umpire, got ill. I took his list on, but I was still a reserve.
I see.
And I only did a couple of years. And because you're an inexperienced umpire, you couldn't do your own county.
Right. Okay. Fine. Well, you got it anyway. 7 out of 8. Very good.
Excellent answer. Right. Last 2 questions. Question number 9. How many Lloyds have played Test cricket?
Test cricket. Clive Lloyd, Andy Lloyd, David Lloyd. Is his surname Lloyd or?
No, Chris, surname
Lloyd, yeah.
Clive Lloyd, Andy Lloyd, David Lloyd. 3.
He's got it!
Oh, yeah, back of the net.
8 out of 9. Well, this is excellent. Go on, yours. Last question.
Right, last question. Bit of a cryptic one, really.
Oh.
How many books have you written? Actually written?
What, personally put pen to paper myself?
Kind of. Well, I know you've probably dictated them to a ghost in some cases, but it counts. How many books have your name on it as the author, let's say?
1, 2. Good day, you pommy bastard. Out of the rough. Start the car. According to the ashes. 7.
7. Okay. Well, here they are here. Sorry, one sec.
Yeah, we can see that. We can see that, yours.
Right.
Yeah, that looks like 6, doesn't it?
Well, you see, I might have missed one out.
Where's out of the rough? You've missed out of the rough.
Out of the rough.
You've missed out of the rough.
Okay, I missed out of the rough. I have got the complete history of Ludlow by David Lloyd.
Oh, that's not me. Look, that is Reggie Hayter in a pseudonym. That's a pseudonym of Reggie Hayter. He lives in Ludlow, so he must have written it.
So, okay, so 7, if you can really guarantee that is the right answer. Is it the right answer?
Absolutely. It was with Peter Baxter.
Yeah, that's right. It is. I can vouch for that. Out of the rough.
Okay, I'll give you the right answer. You've got 7 books that you've written, which means you've got 9 out of 10.
Brilliant. That's a pass, is that? I never passed my GCE, but that's a pass.
That is a pass. That's an A.
Yeah, very good.
That's amazing.
I could go to uni on the back of that.
There were some quite hard ones there as well.
Yeah, you did well. It was good. Yeah, I mean that's a sort of reasonable spread of questions in terms of what everyone else has been asked. Yeah.
Good.
Excellent.
Okay, you can have your curry now.
Yeah, I've got a message that just come up from Ian Ward. How are you doing, mate? I'll text back average.
No, you can't. No, don't say that. Say I've just got 9 out of 10.
I've got 9 out of 10. I'm on top of the world and I'm just tucking into a butter chicken.
Well, Sam O'Brien says, can you ask Bumble what is his secret of staying so happy, or as we Aussies would say, chipper?
Yeah, well, looks can be deceiving because I've got a tractor which is split in half and I'm trying to put a new clutch in it. It's a nightmare and I need my tractor. I've got grass to cut. I've got all sorts of stuff. But I mean, I like talking cricket and there's no better than doing these podcasts and stuff. It's brilliant. I enjoy it.
Well, thank you very, very much for giving up your time. I know you aren't feeling great, but you've certainly made us feel great. So, you know, thank you for all you do for the game. And it is the eyebrows in the end, isn't it?
Yeah. Paul Collingwood said that. And my daughter, Sarah, who's cracker, she's always going to Benidorm and Ibiza. And she's 50, so I'm hoping that she'll get out of that at some stage. She said, they're legendary. Your eyebrows are legendary. And they just fly away. And I look a bit like Jesse Lingard, I think, the Man United lad. He's got flyaway eyebrows. And the what we call Dracula, the Ray Reardon, he had them.
He did actually, yeah. Ray Reardon. Oh, and
he was mentor to Ronnie O'Sullivan.
He was.
Yeah. Or is mentor to Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
Hey, is it time to start the car? Surely that has to be said.
Start the car.
Is it time to start the car?
Well, I'm ready to start the car. The car's in good nick, but the tractor, I can't start the tractor.
Well, I hope you get some help with that, and you deserve it, so that you can cut your grass. And I want a picture. When you've cut your grass. I want a picture of those lovely stripy lines. All right, we'll post it on the group.
Very, very quickly. One of the fields has got stripy lines, and it's got a cricket pitch, and the stumps are in, and it's got a scoreboard with all the tins. You know, you just put tins up. It's all in the field. The boundary is 30 yards.
Oh, what club's that?
It's down in my field. I've got a field.
Oh, can we come and play there? Well, right, we're having a game there sometime. We need to come. Does anybody play there?
Not just me and my wife, Diana. She had trials with Yorkshire ladies when she was 12.
Well, that sounds like an amazing place to come and just while away some time anyway. So fantastic. Oh, we want a picture. Sometime when you can get around to it.
I'll do it.
Have that set up. That'd be brilliant. Bumble, thank you very, very much. Keep well. I hope you can get rid of long COVID as soon as possible. And we miss you, but you know, obviously anybody who wants to watch the Lancashire stream can see you. So
yeah,
it's a place to find you.
Thanks for having me along, both of you. Thanks,
Brilliant.
Simon.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Enjoy it, Barry. See you, mate. Thanks.